Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'll be reading a submitted trip report from one of our viewers who wanted to share their experience with a pretty intense cannabinoid. They asked to remain anonymous, so I'll just read it as is. Let's get into it. I'd been exploring the world of cannabinoids for over a year, starting with basic Delta-9 edibles and vapes from local dispensaries, but I kept hearing whispers in online forums about more potent analogs that could elevate the experience without the usual drawbacks. After some research, I zeroed in on D9-THCo acetate, a semi-synthetic derivative that's reported to have up to 4 times the binding affinity to CB1 receptors compared to standard THC. What caught my eye was the distinction between variants. Many people end up disappointed because they grab the wrong ones. Now let me take a moment away from reading this report and break this down real quick for you all, since this trips up a lot of folks new to altnoids. This market is flooded with Delta-8 based products like Delta-8 THCP or Delta-8 THCPO. These are derived from hemp CBD through isomerization, making them federally legal under the 2018 Farm Bill in many states, but they're often milder and lack the punch. Delta-8 THC itself is about half as potent as Delta-9 THC, aka normal, most common form of THC, with more of a clear-headed, less intoxicating high that can feel underwhelming or even sedating without the euphoria. So when companies slap THCP on a label, but base it on Delta-8, you're getting an amplified version of that milder profile. Maybe stronger body effects, but it often misses the cerebral depth and intensity that people expect from the hype. I've seen reviews where users complain of it feeling flat or just like a strong CBD buzz, leading to buyer's remorse. On the flip side, the proper stuff is Delta-9 THCP or Delta-9 THCPO, sourced from actual cannabis-derived Delta-9 THC and extended with that floral chain. These hit closer to the classic Delta-9 experience, but dialed up. Deeper psychoactivity, longer duration, and more vivid sensory enhancements. When you read things like THCo, THCP, etc., being 3 times or 100 times stronger or whatever than THC, this is the variant that's being discussed. Going down to the local head shop and grabbing the first thing you see labeled THCP, and to note, not very many places make the distinction, then you're not getting the good stuff. The real good stuff is Delta-9 based versions of these, which are not as widely available due to stricter regulations, often sold through gray market online vendors or in legal cannabis states, and are also usually quite expensive. If you've got the cash though, I will say firsthand, it's worth it, guys. If you're chasing the real deal, always check the lab reports if available for Delta-9 specificity and avoid anything vaguely labeled as THCP without clarifying the base isomer. It's the difference between a gentle cruise and a full throttle ride. Anyway, now that we have that squared away, let's get back to this user's experience. Last month, I ordered a syringe of pure Delta-9 THCo acetate liquid from a reputable online site that focuses on high-purity, lab-tested extracts. It shipped in a plain envelope, vacuum-sealed with a QR code linking to third-party COA results, confirming 99% purity, no heavy metals, and 0 residual solvents. Just the viscous amber oil, we're ready to go. For administration, I opted to infuse it into a vape cartridge for precise control. I grabbed a fresh 1 milliliter glass ceramic cart with a 510 thread, preheated the syringe in a warm water bath for about 5 minutes to reduce viscosity, and slowly injected 0.3 milliliters of the THCo. To make it vape friendly, I added about 0.2 milliliters of food-grade propylene glycol as a carrier and a dash of botanical terpenes, limonene for citrus notes, and myrcene for that earthy undertone, to improve flavor and prevent clogging. I capped it, shook gently, and attached it to my variable voltage battery dialed to 3.0 volts initially, letting it wick overnight in a cool, dark drawer. The session happened on a quiet Friday night in my living room, post-yoga stretch to clear my mind. I was sober otherwise, having eaten a balanced meal of grilled chicken and veggies a couple hours earlier to avoid any nausea risks. Starting conservative, I took a single 4-second draw, inhaling deeply and holding for 15 seconds before a slow exhale. The vapor was thick, but not harsh, carrying a subtle herbal aroma that lingered pleasantly. Effects crept in around the 4-minute mark. A tingling warmth originated in my lungs, radiated outward to my fingertips and toes like sinking into a hot bath after a long day. My heart rate picked up slightly, but it was energizing rather than anxious. By 10 minutes, the room's lighting took on a softer glow, and everyday objects like my coffee table books seemed more textured and inviting to touch. At about 20 minutes in, the high intensified into full-body immersion. My muscles released any lingering tension, creating a profound heaviness that pinned me to the cushions in the best way possible. Think ultimate relaxation without too much drowsiness. Mentally, it shifted gears. Racing thoughts from the week dissolved, replaced by a stream of creative ideas and philosophical musings. I jotted down notes on a notepad about personal goals, feeling unusually motivated and insightful. Peaking around 40 minutes, subtle visuals emerged. Not full hallucinations, but enhanced patterns. The wood grain on my floor undulated gently when focused on, and shadows played tricks in my peripheral vision. Auditory senses heightened too. Birds chirping outside sounded crystalline, almost melodic. I queued up a playlist of lo-fi beats, and the bass lines resonated through my body like a massage. The core phase stretched for nearly 2 hours, during which I experimented with light activities, snacking on fresh strawberries. Each bite burst with amplified juiciness and tang, turning a simple fruit into a gourmet delight. I avoided heavy foods to prevent any gut discomfort, sticking to hydrating with herbal tea. No cottonmouth issues, surprisingly, thanks to staying proactive with water. At around the 2.5-hour point, the descent began smoothly. The euphoria tapered into a grounded clarity, allowing me to read a chapter from a sci-fi novel with enhanced focus. Words popped off the page, ideas connecting in novel ways. By hour 4, residual effects lingered as a subtle mood lift, easing me into bed where I enjoyed vivid, restful dreams without grogginess the next morning. In retrospect, this Delta-9 THCo delivered an experience roughly 3 to 4 times more potent than my usual Delta-9, with slightly faster onset, contrary to what I'd read, and a cleaner finish. Usually THCo takes about 30 minutes to hit it all, but then when it does, you're immediately peaking. My experience and body chemistry is a tad different than most other people from what I understand. At 175 pounds with moderate tolerance, that small dose was ideal. Novices should half it or less. Key takeaways would be to source wisely, dose low, and understand the isomer differences to avoid any letdowns. If you're in a legal area, or at least a legally gray area, give it a go. But as always, do your research. Safety first. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the report. Quite a detailed account, if I do say so myself. I also did enjoy the opportunity to educate some people on isomer differences almost no one properly knows. If you enjoyed, drop a like and a comment letting me know if you've navigated the alt-cannabinoid scene or have questions about any different variants, and pop on those post notifications to ensure you don't miss anything. I do plan on doing a mind and molecule regarding some of these altnoids pretty soon. As I always say, be curious, prioritize harm reduction, and stay safe out there. And with that, I will of course see you all in the next one. Peace!